the nation felt something colder than anger: realization. This was never about one corrupt man. It was about how far rot can travel once it finds a home inside the system meant to stop it. By week's end, federal situation rooms no longer dealt in speculation, only evidence. What had begun as a single suburban raid now stood as one of the largest narcotics corruption cases in modern American history. The data on those walls told a story too vast for denial. 1.809 metric tons of narcotics seized across all linked operations, enough to drown entire cities for months. $144.4 million in frozen assets, duffel bags of cash, halted wire transfers, frozen commodity trades, and 120 gold bars cataloged under sterile light. 324 weapons, each tagged, each photographed. Pistols, rifles, tactical builds. Instruments of authority turned tools of crime. But the most damning evidence wasn't metal or money. It was names. Names in ledgers, on encrypted chats, in municipal calendars, in government inboxes. Each one, a breach point. Each one, a moment when loyalty was sold and law was rewritten in silence. Federal prosecutors prepared indictments for 184 people: traffickers, brokers, police officers, city employees, bureaucrats who had all sworn the same oath and then betrayed it. Some broke fast, trading confessions for mercy. Others stared through interrogation glass, mute and expressionless. A few insisted it was all coincidence, bad timing, clerical error, but the data spoke louder than denials. The trail was too clean, too consistent. This wasn't hidden corruption, it was documented treason. Across the affected states, reactions split communities apart. For some neighborhoods, the news only confirmed what they had always felt, that something unseen had been guiding the chaos, the drugs, the violence, the despair. For others, the shock was total. Teachers, priests, nurses, people who had once shaken hands with these officials, now realized they had been living beside the very machinery poisoning their streets. Local governments crumbled under the weight of exposure. Courtrooms emptied. Special elections scrambled to fill vacant offices. Auditors picked through ledgers trying to rebuild trust brick by brick. The conclusion was unavoidable. This wasn't incidental damage. It was structural decay. Federal voices remained measured but firm. This, they said, was not closure. It was the start of a purge. One network dismantled to expose the next. The investigation would not end in months. It could take years. And at the still point of it all, Judge Marcus Hale, held without bail, his courtroom now locked, immaculate, untouched. Polished bench, 2 flags unmoved. A nameplate that once meant justice now whispered betrayal. To the camera, it looked unchanged, until you knew what had happened behind that bench. The nation was left with one brutal truth. Drugs don't arrive in cities by chance. They move through systems. Systems built, staffed, and guarded by people we are told to trust. And when that trust collapses, the poison spreads not from the streets up, but from the top down. It's easy to blame the product, the heroin, the guns, the cash. But what this case exposed was something far deadlier: the quiet extinction of integrity. Because when the law itself becomes the courier, when the judge holds the door open, when the shield of the innocent becomes the armor of the guilty, no amount of enforcement can repair what's lost. It wasn't just heroin behind the wall. It was trust, packaged and sold. That's the real cost, not measured in pounds or dollars, but in faith. Faith in institutions, in fairness, in the idea that justice stands apart from profit. When that faith breaks, families unravel, communities decay, and entire generations grow up believing that justice isn't real, only influence is. And yet, even in the collapse, something endured. Agents who still move before dawn, analysts who chase every dollar until the line ends, citizens who refuse to stay silent. Because corruption thrives in darkness, but accountability lives where people choose to see. If you're still watching, still listening, you're part of that light. Comment, I see. If you refuse to look away, comment "Justice." Share this story, because silence is where corruption survives, and exposure is where it dies. Your voice matters. Let it be heard.